Brian, thanks very much for joining us here at OGV Energy TV at the IR35 seminar that's been hosted by ProDrill this morning. We've just heard from Adel Shaw and Goddard on the legal side. Your talk was very much around the strategies that companies are employing at the moment within the energy sector. Can you maybe give us a kind of insight into that side of things?
Yeah, sure. The strategy for each business is driven by their attitude to risk. How much risk are they prepared to take on, and what is manageable on the operational side. So it's not just about the risk, it's how do they manage the business aspects of that. So that's what drives the strategy, and the strategy drives how a business deals with IR35 over the next few months.
Okay, what are the different types of strategies that are available to the client side? I mean, obviously some are looking at kind of blanket approaches, others are looking for screening on an individual basis. Can you maybe talk us through the options there?
Yeah, sure. Well, if a business decides they're not wanting to take any risk whatsoever, or a low attitude to risk, then they could well decide not to accept any contractors from 6th of April, so a complete blanket ban, and that can be extended to the supply chain as well. So that's an approach we're seeing in some sectors, not necessarily in oil and gas at the moment. They're taking a more considered approach in the sector, but on the flip side, businesses that are more willing to take a risk are going through the IR35 process and making business decisions based on what that process comes out as.
And you mentioned as well, in terms of the tax liability that falls on the end user, and there was quite an interesting statistic there in your presentation. Could you just talk us through that again?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was really just to focus that this is big ticket stuff if it goes wrong, and we estimate that for every £100,000 of expenditure on a contractor, if HMRC come along and challenge that successfully, then the business could be at risk of up to about £55,000, £60,000 for that £100,000 of spend. So it's really important that they get it right, because over a big contractor population, that number could be huge for a business.
I think that's a scary statistic, but also I think, given the flexible nature of the workforce and the oil and gas industry, it's one that will need a lot of thought. And a lot of the companies that were here this morning were advocating the screening the contractors on an individual basis. Yeah. And they're the companies that will prosper the most because they'll be the most attractive to the flexible workforce. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And to have a good relationship with the contractor, you need to demonstrate that you've properly thought through that and went through the whole process, and it's not just a blasé decision. It's based on actual facts, and that will give the contractor comfort that they're being treated correctly.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your insights this morning, Brian, and thanks for joining us at the seminar.
Okay, thank you.